Over the last 8 months, I have read 31 books, more or less. I went from not reading at all to reading a lot. If we do the maths, this averages out to about 3.75 books every month, which is like just under a book every week. And no, this video is not for me to brag about how many books I read, like some other YouTubers who do those things of reading 3 books a week, which is kind of excessive. I'm actually here to teach you how to learn and absorb what you read from self-help books. The first step is to actually start reading. People can be misled into thinking that the only way to start reading is to just pick up the most popular self-help book and start reading that, but this isn't helpful. For someone with such a low attention span like I used to have, this was not the way that I could have gone about it. So what I did instead is I picked up the book that my girlfriend recommended to me, Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov, and after this book I was absolutely hooked on reading because I really enjoyed it. And when you enjoy a good book, it's a really good feeling. It's way more rewarding than watching a movie or Netflix or something. After that, I just kept reading classic after classic, books that I had never read before but always kind of heard about and wanted to know what they were. Fast forward to now, I can now read a self-help book and actually absorb quite a substantial amount of information from them. If you're coming from nothing, as in no attention span, then you probably have tried to read a book in the past. You'll read an entire page and then you'll flip over the page and you'll kind of realize, like, wait a second, I didn't understand anything that I just read. This is where mindfulness comes into play. Mindfulness is the base power of your brain. Once you've leveled that up, all the other things that your brain is capable of are automatically leveled up. For example, focusing, understanding, and thinking are all part of the same scope, and so leveling up our mindfulness levels these skills as well. You can become mindful by just meditating and focusing on your breath for 5 minutes, 4 days a week. Another way to practice mindfulness is to go outside and appreciate nature. Another way to increase your mindfulness levels is to start journaling, and this is my favorite hobby to do. I don't really enjoy meditating as much. I kind of have to force myself to do it. But with journaling, this is just an automatic habit that I absolutely love because I love thinking and I love writing down my thoughts, and I love filling up notebooks with just kind of bullshit. Overall, make your mind clearer, and so your mindfulness is better. Once you've achieved some level of mindfulness, you will find that reading is a lot easier. You can read for hours and you don't really seem to lose focus, and you can enter a flow state a lot easier. The next step to absorbing what you read from a self-help book is to actually take notes. No matter how mindful we are, it's not possible to absorb every single thing that we read from a self-help book. It's very common to forget things that we might have read a couple days ago. What we read might be life-changing advice, but we can't exactly remember it unless we write it down. By writing it down, you can refer to it later. And it is important to take notes. I have a little notebook full of like quotes. When you write down these quotes, make sure that you try to write them in your own words, otherwise you might not remember them as well as just copying word for word. The last thing to do now is to implement everything that we've learned. If you read a self-help book, it's more than likely that they'll give you some practical information that you can act on right away. If you decide to never implement the things that you learn, there's no point in reading, because you cannot learn just by reading and studying. You also have to do those things. This is how you exponentially make your life extremely good, is by implementing what you actually learn from all the self-help books that you read. Because ultimately, if you apply just 10% of every book that you've read, over time that really accumulates to a lot, because you learn a lot from books. I mean, that's 200 to 300 pages of someone's hard work, research, concise information in there, and that's why I value books so highly. So yeah, and that's about it for the video. I hope you find some value. Peace.